Hi, boys and girls. It is time for math. And in your math today, if you looked at your packet, you've seen different papers, and you're probably wondering, I don't see anything with numbers on it. It's not really math. Well, it is math, but I have to explain what we're going to do. Today, we're going to talk about counting to measure time. We talked about measuring with our feet. We measured with rulers, with yardsticks. We measured with all kinds of things. But today we're going to talk about counting to measure. And if you guys were here at school, it would be so easy, and we would practice measuring our time doing different activities in the classroom. So we're going to do it kind of a different way. I'm going to show you some ways that we can measure time and measure how long it takes to do something. And then we're going to compare. We're going to talk about if that's a good way to measure time or if it's not a very good way to measure time. So let's talk about if we're to measure time, we could use like beats on a drum. We could clap our hands. We could tap on something. Anything that keeps a beat, that makes us, every time we make a count, we hear a sound. I am going to clap for us. And every time I clap, I'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you think about if you're going to walk across the room that you're in, and if you were to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you did it like that at home, how many counts would it take you to walk across your room? Well, and now let's talk about if that's a good way to measure, because is everybody going to count exactly the same way every time? No, they're not. And is everybody going to walk the same way every time? No, they're not. So it's going to be a little bit different every time. And we might get kind of close, and that might help you get a good count of how long it would take to walk across the room, or you can even count how long it takes you to walk across the house, to walk across your backyard, or even how long it takes you to do an activity, like maybe even to do a worksheet you could count. That might be a lot of counting. And then we could talk about different ways to count. What if we counted really fast, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we slow down, 6, 7, 8, 9, then we speed it up again, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Do you think that would be the same all the time? I don't think we would get the same count every time. And so that would not be a good way to measure either. And so counting and measuring time, we are going to compare with the tortoise and the hare. Now, we've done the story of the tortoise and the hare in class before, so this is a very good story that we already know about, that you can practice and learn about measuring time with. So we have the story for you right here on a piece of paper, so maybe a grown-up can read this with you, and then if not, I'm going to attach a video of the tortoise and the hare also that you can watch to remember the story. So we have the story right here on a paper. I also just gave you a coloring page just for the fun of it. And then you have a page that says shadow puppets on it. And your shadow puppets, you're going to cut out. This piece right here is the finish line. You guys can cut that out on your own if you want to make a finish line for the hare and the tortoise and the hare's race. But I cut out the tortoise and the hare, and I glued it to my popsicle sticks. You should have all of these in your packets, and we sent home glue sticks, so hopefully you have everything ready to go. And when you read the story, we learn that the tortoise, he goes at a slow and steady pace. He's not moving very fast, is he? But he's going about the same all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's moving at the same pace all the time. So you can kind of expect how long it's going to take the tortoise to get somewhere. Well, the hare, if you remember in the beginning of the story, he brags about how fast he is. And so when the hare begins his race, he starts going really fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But then he gets so far ahead, he stops. And then he falls asleep, takes a nap, and then he wakes up and sees how far ahead the tortoise is of him, and then he goes really fast again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that a very accurate, a very good way to count? Is it going to come out the same all the time? No, it is not. So I want you to practice with your tortoise and your hare. Your tortoise going at a slow and steady pace. And that's a pace that you can predict. You can guess how fast he's going to get there and how he's going to walk. The hare, he moves really fast, stops, moves really fast again. And so you can practice with these two, and you can pretend to have a race with them. You can even use your finish line and practice counting their movements and how long it takes, and you can practice counting your movements. Even if you have somebody at home with you, maybe one of you could be the tortoise and one of you could be the hare, and one of you can move really fast and stop and wait and then move really fast again while the other one of you is moving slow and steady, and see if you come out the same. Okay, boys and girls, have fun with the tortoise and the hare and counting your time.